Welcome
Jeez, we're on.
to another episode of the Back Catalogue podcast. This is the podcast where we are in university. And by we, I mean me, Apple, my co-host / co-founder, Vincent. We dive into the streaming service. We tell you, the listener and the viewer, what is worth and what is not. And Vincent, we're here. We're doing 2004's very own Spider-Man 2.
2004.
2004. What a year, man.
What a year.
What a year. You remember that year?
Nah.
I don't really remember that year either.
No,
but we're doing 2004's very own. And as I said, we're in university.
Okay. As in I was thinking we're in university. I'm thinking, bro, I'm not going back there.
I mean, we're not going back there anytime soon, but for today, we're in university.
Well, I mean, we're not really in university because like man's always late.
That's true. And like, how many times can you be late before they say you can't be at this university anymore?
I mean, you can be late indefinitely, which is something that I know from experience. You could also just rock up indefinitely and like...
You could not rock up on the exam time and they'll be like, hey, it's good to see you.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't know you took this course. Which we'll get into why that's one of the most unrealistic things of this whole movie.
Yeah. This is 2004's very own, by the way. I just got to mention that. This got the 7.4 out of 10 on the IMDb. It's got 93% on the Rotten Tomatoes. This had a budget of $200 million and it made $789 million.
Was that a similar budget to the first one?
Here's the thing, Vincent. I reckon that Spider-Man 1 made a lot more money on a lot less. Budget of $139 million.
Oh, okay. I thought it was in the two scundos.
And a box office of $825 million.
Okay, but this one box office, it's close.
It's 700.
But you're never going to get that return on the second one.
Well, this is the thing, and we'll get into this, but like...
I say that having no statistics to back that up at all, because I don't know anything about how sequels do, on average.
You don't know the statistics, but you're on the lived experiences.
I'm on the lived experience because I'm thinking, people go, hey, it's a superhero movie. This is wild. They don't do these. They did one and there was another one 2 years ago and they go, it's a superhero movie. And I said, I've already done that.
What we should have done is looked at the reviews at the time. Because maybe these have grown these age like a fine wine, but maybe back in the days they were like, hey, we don't do superheroes like this. We don't do this sort of stuff. I don't like this movie. I'm not watching the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people watched the sequel.
They did. They did, and they came.
Because that's still dollars.
That's not. I mean, it's dollars. It is dollars. It's just less, and that's okay. Because you have your good days, you have bad days. But here's what we're going to talk about today. Last week we had a bit of a discussion about Spider-Man 1, and you were saying that you enjoyed Spider-Man 1, but didn't feel the same way about Spider-Man 2.
I mean, we can put up a clip of last week, which we won't, but we could.
We could.
Of me saying that I thought Spider-Man 2 was a terrible movie after rewatching it, and I've rewatched it, I don't know, probably twice in the past 5 years, let's say. And I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, this is terrible. I remember thinking the second one was unbelievable when I thought that was the best one. This is the best Spider-Man movie, from memory.
When you originally watched it.
But I would like to formally we
can just do like teasers.
I can just say because we're going to keep people in here.
We're going to keep people in here. Yeah, that's right.
I'm 100% wrong, and I'll admit that live on air.
I thought we'd come in here and we'd have arguments today, but it seems like we're on the same page.
I mean, look, it's not without its faults.
I mean, what is?
It's not without its faults. Like this podcast, it's not without its faults. But I was dead wrong, and I went in there a little bit skeptical. I was thinking, I don't know about this.
You were ready for it to lose,
But that's right, exactly. Yeah. But I was also excited to see it, having just watched the first one and enjoying that more than I expected.
You were like the critics. This is what I just thought of just then. You were like the critics when Justin Timberlake got into acting. Like, how's this man that does singing going to be in acting? And then it turns out like he can do okay acting. And people were like, man, put him in The Social Network. Like make him some skis bag. And look at that. You could almost give him an Oscar.
I don't know how that is relevant to this situation.
What I'm trying to say is like JT, they didn't give him a chance. He had his chance. He took it. He just bit that off the bone, right? You didn't give Spider-Man 2 a chance, and he just beat you off the bone.
Well, I gave Spider-Man 2 a chance.
Okay, you did give Spider-Man 2 a chance.
Because I saw JT acting, and I said, that's amazing. And then 5 years later, I was thinking, man, JT's such a trash actor. Like, I've seen him again. He's garbage. Like, just go back to singing.
You saw him in one when he's like, I've got time on my arm.
That's right. I mean, I love that movie.
And now you see him in another one, you're like, I can't watch JT anymore. But that's we're not talking about JT, we're talking about SP or PP, if I will. And the things that I want to talk about today is the movie. We'll talk about the hits and the misses, of course.
Yep.
I do want to talk about Doc Ock because last week we asked, is the Green Goblin the best villain of all time? But this week we'll ask, is Doc Ock?
You know what's wild? I'm going to say things this week that probably completely contradict last week because I can't remember at all what I said last week.
But the past is the past. We can't live in that.
And we can only move forward. Luckily, there's no record of the past.
That's exactly right. And the final thing I want to talk about is just Sam Raimi's, the director of this movie. Yeah. But let's get into. I want to hear from you because I was driving here thinking Vincent's not going to like this movie.
You're already here for a fight.
I was already here for a fight.
You were already here for a fight.
I had my points.
You
in my
had
head.
your points. Yeah, Vincent mentions the elevator scene. Like, I've got this coming. Which hands down, that elevator scene is probably the best one in the movie.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if you're talking goofiness and hilariousness,
but it was just he wasn't doing any quips. He was just there because he was sad.
Yeah,
I can't do webs anymore.
Yeah.
And if you can't do webs and like you can't really do, conversation, like what can you do? I
mean, we got into it last week in just the fact that Peter Parker's an awkward man.
Oh, he's hard to watch. He really is, because he does weird things with his mouth and his eyes.
And his facial expression is quite odd. And we'll get into those facial expressions, specifically two that have been turned into big memes. But tell me about your process. Tell me about the process going through this.
Okay, well, you know what? I made some notes.
You made some notes, of course you did, man. Of course you did.
So, I mean, we already touched upon this, but I love how Peter Parker is just running late for something. Always. Whatever, and that's comedy because man's just running late. Which also, he was late to his university thing and the lecturer goes like, Peter, you're late again. I might have to fail you or whatever. Bruv, none of the lecturers I ever had at university would have known who I was. Yeah. Even the ones that I went to.
But the thing is, I mean, let's not get into the logistics of universities and how they've changed. But like mans wouldn't have had online lectures at that point.
Yeah, but I had to go all to my lectures when I was at uni.
But you could watch them, retrospectively.
I could, but there were other stuff.
Review.
Yeah, absolutely, retrospective review. Yeah. But I just thought that was hilarious because there's like 500 kids in that classroom. There's no way this dude's
how's he going to know? And he is a whiz kid, obviously, and that's one of the reasons why like these people know him.
Yeah.
And he's Spider-Man, so
I just thought that was funny because I'm thinking, man.
You know that the lecturer who is missing an arm is the man that becomes the lizard later on.
Yeah, Dr. Connor.
Dr. Connors, yeah.
Connors. Yeah, there's two of them.
There's a couple of things in this movie and in the next movies that they were planning for different things.
Yeah, and I like how because Dr. Connors is in there and he's just sprinkled in. Yeah, and I like that because they didn't do some he's there like with a little gecko and he's like looking at it.
Yeah,
and then it cuts to black.
He's like, I'm something of a lizard myself. Like he's not saying lines like that people are like,
yeah, that's right. He's just in there.
And this is. We talked about it a bit last week and we'll talk about it again this week, but this is why the fatigue that I have currently can be fixed by going back to these movies where they didn't have, they had a plan. They did have a plan. Obviously they wanted to do multiple, especially if you make them ducats.
Yeah.
If like the ducats ticking, like you're going to keep going. But it was not like this is what we are doing. Because there wasn't the same internet exposure. There wasn't the same you can't go on Twitter after a movie now, back in the day and be like, this is exactly what the next 6 movies are going to be because they left these 3 hints. But back in those days, people would be like, hey man, there's a dude with an arm and then he's got no arm on the other side and he could be a bad guy later on. But I don't know. We'll see.
You're saying because people couldn't tweet it.
Well, no. Just people. I think the movies are now geared towards making people speculate.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel obviously brought that in with the after credit scenes and stuff like that, and that's cool. And I think
it is cool.
I think at the start of it, it was cool because you're going, oh, what's next, and you didn't really know what's next. But then now they're bringing out like 10-year plans as if they're trying to retire in like 15 and going, hey, this is what we need to do to make sure like the dividends that we're getting in.
And I mean, there's some people out there that must be living some lavish lifestyles. Because if your movies are making $1 billion and you're still doing plans for the next 10 years, like, brother, you owe someone something. You know, that could be the tax man, that could be man next door who's been spying on you for years because you owe him some money.
You owe him some money. Jeez.
So yeah, go on with you. You've got some notes. I want to hear about them.
Yeah. What else we got? I mean, so much of this is just comments on how Peter Parker is the worst person in conversations that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because at one point he was there with MJ and I don't know, she said something and he goes, "Oh boy, yeah."
Yeah. I mean, look, you got to remember Peter Parker, like back in the day from the 50s. He's doing 50s things or maybe 60s things.
Yeah, but this is not in the 50s.
So he'll be saying, "Oh boy." And that will be like saying like, God damn. Like that's "oh boy" is like, that's the 50s version of like,
yeah, it doesn't hold up.
Let's get,
doesn't hold up.
Or something. Whatever the kids saying these days, like, "Oh boy" was it.
Let's yeet.
Yeah. You see a person out there, you tell them "let's yeet," you don't know what you can do.
You don't know what they're going to do either.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the life we live.
But I mean, that's just Peter Parker in this whole movie. It's just him.
Yeah.
It's just almost uncomfortable to watch some of it.
His awkwardness personified as Peter Parker, and when it comes up when he is Spider-Man, is hilarious. When you later see Bones, was it Bones that was? Maybe it wasn't Bones. Maybe I'm mixing wires here. But when he comes out there, he's delivering pizzas and he comes out the closet, like the wash.
Yeah.
The thing was the lady Bones?
Who's Bones?
Anyway.
The lady from the TV
Bones.
show Bones. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was also hilarious.
That's hilarious, but that's also awkwardness like personified. You know what I mean?
What the actual? No, but see, something like that is looking at that, and that's comedic because he's just trying to deliver pizzas, and he's at this fancy place. He's just come out of the janitor's closet,
and it's 30 minutes or less.
And it's 30 minutes or less. I mean, put the pizzas down and then say, "Hey, sorry, I'll clean up after myself." But it's just hilarious that he's there, fiddling around with all the
dude,
and she's just there watching him. Things like that that's genuinely just great content to watch.
But awkwardness personified is also great content to watch. I'm a man that's privy to the cringe. I'm a man that goes onto the internet and I look at cringe videos. I go, this is what Scorsese intended. When he made The Comedian, he intended this. And I don't know if Scorsese made The Comedian, but I think he did.
Nah. So there was just too much of it where, I think maybe I had fatigue, bro, from the last movie.
Yeah, it's fatigue. And we'll do the third one next week, but it's fatigue.
It's fatigue. We'll absolutely do the third one next one.
Because you haven't watched that.
I haven't watched that. That's fresh.
I'm so excited for this.
Also, when this movie, I actually can't believe that I disliked it so much.
Yeah. And I think it was because you could approach this movie in a different mindset. You weren't fatigued on the new stuff. You were like, this is what superhero movies should look like for the current Marvel spread. And then you went and watched that movie and you were like, hold up a second. This is not what these superhero movies should look like.
Well, I don't think this is what whatever should look like. I just think that it was probably soon after I watched Spider-Man Homecoming or No Way Home or like Man's Got to Get Home, like he's dropped his pants or something.
Yeah.
But I think after that, especially the first two, not the third one because the third one's trash. The first two I loved. I loved that movie. I loved Tom Holland as Peter Parker. I just love that Spider-Man universe more than what I remembered this one here, Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
But when I rewatched the second one a few years ago or whatever after Homecoming, I remember thinking, man, this is just too cringy. Or just too, I don't know, it just felt like it was a bit rough.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know if I'm in a different place in my life, like man's getting older.
Could be, man.
I'm just appreciating that it's hilarious, and this is just Hollywood's one of their first tries at, hey, we're going to do a superhero movie.
Yeah, and the great thing is it's its own.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that was what was great about superhero movies back in those days. And when I say back in those days, like that's 2004. That ain't long ago in my mind, but it's a while.
It's 20 years.
Yeah, people say like you were born in the 1900s to us. Like they say that because we were.
I've never heard someone say that to me, but
so with the Spider-Man movies, these movies were very unique. It was just its own thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't like this wasn't a formula that they just throw 18 movies, they all feel the same. This was its own thing, and I think that's what was great about it. I think we talked about this last week about the cheesiness and how that works just really well for Spider-Man 1. And I think that as I was saying last week, this is a continuation of that, where they can have more fun with things. And one of my favorite moments, and one moment that I'll continue to call back to, is when Peter is sort of saying, you know what, I'm going to stop being Spider-Man. I'm just be Peter Parker for a bit. And, you know, he's at uni, he's in the front row, he's putting his hand up, he's doing things, right? And, you know, Mr. Connors
He's saying like the number is 2.32.
Yeah, that's right. You know, he's saying all those things. And you know, he's doing like computer science things. Like whatever jokes you can make for computer science, he's done.
See, I think when I rewatched this one and then decided I hated it was because I didn't like any of that cheesiness.
Yeah.
I thought it was too much. But when I was watching it this time, I was going, it's really not too much.
I mean, you haven't got lactose in your diet very much these days.
Actually, because I'm strictly oat milk.
You're strictly oats. So this could be why. You just needed the cleanse and now you're back into it. But that scene when the police come past, he's at the hot dog stand and he's thinking about doing some Spider-Man things. And then he stops and he's like, nah, I'm all good. And he walks away and he takes a bite of the hot dog and it cuts. And it freeze frames on his face. And
I thought it was broken. I thought my internet messed up for a second. That was for real?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And it's like, what is it? Is it the song that's playing in the background is Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head?
Oh, yeah. No,
it's like a real just up and about song like that, you know?
Like, hey, I'm better now. Like, you know, I feel better now.
Yeah, I feel better now. Exactly. You know, by Beyonce. I love that. I love that for Peter.
Yeah,
I love the fact that he's...
those parts. I like those parts. When he started talking, I think that's when there were issues for me. Still now.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think I've just gone, well, it is what it is. And, you know, it's kind of funny just to look at because, you know, man says like, oh boy, yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. Oh boy, yeah. You know, there's scenes in this movie. What I was saying last week was that the movie that they made was a bit safer because it was the first. You just got to get it out there. You got to show the people what a superhero movie is with Spider-Man. And then in this one, like you got Spider-Man going to the GP, your general practitioner, and he's saying like, hey, you know, sometimes I feel like Spider-Man, but sometimes I don't feel like Spider-Man, you know?
That's one thing that, you know, is hilarious, but also annoys me from both of these movies is Peter Parker is the worst person at disguising himself as Spider-Man.
That GP knows.
Yeah. Man, everyone at that Macy's Day Parade or whatever knows. Everyone, man's out here just like taking off his mask at any point in time, you know?
I mean, half of New York on that train end up knowing.
Yeah,
I want to get into that scene next because I love that scene.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk about it in a second. But one of the other things that I love and the characters that they've added in, like the landlord.
Yeah, and his daughter.
That's hilarious. You know, you open up the door and he's just eating, I don't know, he's just playing cards with like another Eastern European dude.
Yeah.
His daughter's cooking dinner and they've got like, you know, folk music on. Which is hilarious, and I'm going, that's ridiculous. But I remember I went to my nonna and nonno's house one time, and they just had the Tarantella on repeat.
I mean, what else are you going to do? You can be up and you can't be down.
And then that's a slice of life.
Exactly right.
But when he comes out of Peter goes down the stairs and he comes out of the toilet and his pants are down.
Because like, you look, if you're looking for money, you'll come out with your pants down.
You'll come out with your pants down.
Because like those pants should be filled with money at this point, but they're not. But we can't get into the landlords and the state of the world at the moment because like that will bring people down.
No.
And we're here to bring people up. I love, and I feel like I love Peter Parker being in his own apartment, being an adult because of the Spider-Man movie, PS4 game, where you are Peter Parker. You go back to your apartment. You're late on rents. You know, you're just trying to find your way in the world.
Right, man.
It's just a fantastic story. It's not a very nice story. Like we've talked about this maybe off this podcast, but Spider-Man, his life and specifically Spider-Man life story are just very dour stories of just a man's life who just can't win. Despite him being a superhero, he just can't win. And this is the Spider-Man story.
I mean, that's a life story.
That is a life story, and this is this Spider-Man story as well.
Spider-Man story.
You know, I love it. I love to see.
Also, is Sam Raimi? Does he do horror?
This is what I was going to get into with Sam Raimi's. Sam Raimi. We've watched Evil Dead together.
Is he Sam Raimi?
That's Sam Raimi's. That's Sam Raimi.
That's the Sam Raimi.
That's a Sam Raimi. That's a Sam Raimi joint.
Jeez.
this is one of. I mean, we'll talk about Doc Ock in a bit, but when Doc Ock is on the table,
I was looking at that. I was going, is this like a bootleg of this movie? What's going on here?
but what a fantastic and scary scene.
Yeah. See, I think if there weren't so many close-up screams in this, such a short period of time,
Yeah.
because they had heads on the sidewalk when Doc Ock was doing Doc Ock things and whatever. There were just close-ups of female screaming.
Yeah, dude, you got to enjoy that.
No, so I don't enjoy that.
I mean, not specifically anyone, like just people screaming.
No,
like if you're in a movie, you hear people screaming, you're like, this is horror. This is horror for me.
That I didn't really like that. I didn't really like that. But that was wild, that scene where it just turned into a horror movie for about 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. So he did Evil Dead, which we have watched. And I feel that the Evil Dead franchise is one of the most consistently fun and enjoyable horror franchises that there's ever been. I haven't seen the latest one, but I've heard good things and I'm eager to watch it. But yeah, you see those little notes. And this is another great thing about Spider-Man 1 happening and being a bit more safe, even though I think there are some scary elements to that as well. But it's that you get to see a bit more of Sam Raimi. And that's what I loved about. That's why you and I both loved Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, because you start seeing some Sam Raimi's in there. There's some horror elements to it. It's not as horror as maybe
movie
as a horror movie, or as much as I would have liked it. But they start to step into that realm, and you realize this is what these new movies need to do. They need to each. I know that they all come together. No, they don't need
to do that because heads didn't like that. And like they liked. Spider-Man is far away, man.
Yeah, whatever it is, far away. You can't get home. But what they like, I know that they're on a trajectory, so they have to keep things the same. Because if you have like 18 different styles and they bring them together, and it's just, it's styles clashing. So I understand why they keep a consistent style, a Marvel style. But when you get a movie like Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, if you could just have Doctor Strange he's just doing horror things.
Well, see, I don't know. I mean. Look, I'm not a Hollywood executive.
I mean,
I don't wear hats.
With the money that we make, we could be.
I mean, we absolutely could be.
Yeah.
But I don't see why they couldn't have, individual teams or people or whatever do their take on a character or a story or whatever and say, hey, this is roughly the story. Like, this is where you're going to start and this is how we want you to end.
Yeah.
So we can then, they just need to plug it in. They don't need to, I'm sure that you don't have to have one, in an Infinity War, like the second time they do it, but like Thanos's, I don't know, it's like Thanos' son.
Yeah.
Or whatever. They don't have to make it the same style. Because a lot of the movies from the phase 1 or whatever they did, they're not. Exactly.
They're not the same.
No.
This is where we're getting at.
Okay, so you're saying the newer ones
I'm not saying I'm not fatigued on going back and watching Iron Man 1 and watching all those movies.
Okay, so you're saying
those are good movies.
What, the ones really leading up to Infinity War or an Endgame, or the now the ones that
I'm saying now, post Infinity War. Endgame started it all. When you've got Robert Downey Jr. coming back from space, he's skinny. Man's hasn't eaten. And he's talking about Build-A-Bears. You've lost yourself. You lost your soul. You realize them billies take away a part of your soul. Yeah, you can't sniff $1 billion. See it sitting down on 8 tables, because how many tables are you going to need to host $1 billion? You can't sit there and tell me that doesn't take a man's soul.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if anyone knows, it's going to be us, because we make that sort of money.
No, I understand what you're getting at. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is another time where we're effectively making the same point, but
we're taking different routes to get there.
We're just taking different routes because we've got our different styles,
Exactly right. That's why we work, man.
That's
why people come here, they stay there for 3 minutes. They say, these guys work, but I only got 3 minutes today to watch this.
3 minutes.
I want to talk quickly, before we get into Doc Ock.
Jonah Jameson. So you want to talk about?
No, I was going to talk about the train scene, but we can talk about Jay.
I mean, he's hilarious.
I mean, you've picked casting again. Done,
but he's not in the movie very much.
No, but he doesn't need. What's he going to be doing? Like swinging from?
No, I know, but you just get his whole character, his whole personality in a few scenes.
Yeah,
he's talking about, hey man, I can't believe I pushed him too far. We need him. The menace, he took his own suit. And then the best one is when he's at the wedding and, his son gets left at the altar.
Yeah.
He goes, ring Deb. Tell them not to open the caviar.
I mean, because you can take that back.
I mean, you can absolutely take that
You can
back.
get your money back
Like,
on
you
that.
just put that straight back into the ocean.
Yeah. His son's an astronaut.
Yeah.
You know you can leave astronaut for Peter Parker's?
Yeah, he's he can leave an astronaut.
He's someone, right?
He's someone, yeah.
Yeah.
He's I've seen him in a comic or a TV show or something. He does things.
He's doing things. And when people are doing things, we respect that.
He becomes like a super soldier type thing, I think, in one of them.
I mean, you go to space, you're doing something good. You're doing something crazy. That dog that went to space, I'm sure it's still alive somewhere. just doing airbud things.
Airbud things.
So, yeah, the train scene is fantastic for a couple of reasons. One, it's just such an iconic Spider-Man moment when
It's a good, and it's also a good
train.
fight sequence.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of this movie, I feel like the CGI was rougher in this movie than the first one.
I think because they go for it more.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
because they lent on it, they had an extra 50 mil in the budget.
Yeah.
They said, hey, see them computers? We're going to put them to work.
When you use them.
But yeah, no, that fight scene was pretty top tier.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll talk. You want to talk about Doc Ock after, and I'll talk about him as well.
Yeah.
But
when he's stopping the train, and obviously he's doing that face, which is memeable.
Yeah.
When he's just putting.
tell me why he took his mask off.
Because man needs to breathe. He needs to do like ins and outs, like through the nose, in through the nose, get the hairs going, out through the mouth. But anyway, he takes off the mask obviously for the next scene.
Yeah.
But when he stops that train, dude, what an iconic bit. And he's sort of like just hanging there, like all his energy has been sapped from him.
Yeah.
He's been beaten. And this is the thing that I love about this Spider-Man. He gets beaten. It's not like, you see some of these new superhero things. You see just action heroes these days. And in their contract, it's like, I can only get hit 5 times, but I got to hit them 8 times. Spider-Man is getting beaten about. And he's not winning these fights until obviously towards the end. But even then, at what cost is he winning those fights? When he stops that train, the New York, just the New York people, the people of New York bring him in. And he's like, be careful, he's just a boy. Like, that's one of the lines, right?
Boy, he's no older than my son.
Fantastic, man. And then they bring him down, and then Doc Ock comes through. Doc Ock, a man that can kill everyone in that
was
thing in an
hilarious.
instant.
That was hilarious. You got to go through me. Very well then. And he just parts him like his name was like Dr. Moses. Because my goodness,
But yeah, and that's hit comedian Joey Diaz just standing there, getting like $300 for just doing that line. If you want to go through him, you got to go through me. Well, that's New York personified. You know what I mean?
You were talking about the New York. I don't know who that dude is, but okay.
But I not as in the guys. I'm just saying that moment.
Yeah, okay.
New York used to be a place like that where it's just like if you were messing with New York, you're messing with everybody. Now it's crazy everywhere in these streets.
Yeah, that from experience.
I mean, I know that from experience. I've been on the subway systems there. I've felt the energies, and I felt.
It's changed in Spider-Man 2004.
it's changed.
It's changed.
But I just love that scene, and I love
how they're going. Don't worry, we won't tell anyone.
Yeah,
like 80% of those heads are going straight to the tabloids.
I mean, Jay Jonah's there.
Jay Jonah's there.
When you, a human being, right, is standing in front of another human being that has like octopus arms, right, and you tell him like not even confidently, you're like, if you want to go to him, you got to go through me, and like man's just is like, I'm out of here. He leaves.
Yeah.
That's hilarious to me. That's just the power of New York City. That's the power of New York City, and that gets you up and about.
That gets the shoes on in the morning.
Let's talk dog. Let's talk dog.
I was surprised because I remembered, from my last viewing, not liking him because I loved him the first time I watched it. And I always had it in my mind, Doc Ock's the best Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
You can't tell me otherwise, Doc Ock's the best. And then I watched it however many years ago, and I was going, man, this is terrible.
What have they done to my child?
What are they?
They
They massacred my boy.
Yeah.
And this time I watched it and I was going, I don't know what I was on the last time because there's not much that I can go, that's that line didn't hit quite right. There's hilarity in just, he's doing the sun in the palm of my hands, which is a great line.
I love it. Yeah.
That he had to say it twice. That's how good it was. And, he does that and his wife dies. Like, everyone's left the room, which, fair enough, whatever.
Yeah.
His wife dies and he's like, oh, my God. And then he just, everything goes downhill from there.
What about the joke with the $200 or whatever it is with the rubber band? Like, you saying that, no, that's hilarious. Because that's something that like a science nerd would say.
Exactly. No, that's hilarious.
It'd be great if no one laughed, not even giggled. They just looked at him straight.
Very well then.
I just whether it was the first or not, but a superhero villain that is fleshed out and has. It's not just a man that's coming out. And I'll tell you right now, if there's a superhero villain that's just, I'm here to just destroy things, I love that too. But the word shattered keeps coming to my mind, but it's not shattered. It's like a split villain where, part of him wants to do good, but obviously his experiences and what is happening to him with the microchips, that's changing the man.
ChatGPT's got him.
ChatGPT's in there. And it's writing novels.
It's writing
and you don't
novels.
want to know what them novels are saying, but there's writing it. Because there's some sleaze bags out there, they'll put novels in there. But
this is effectively the same thing as the last movie.
It is, but I think it's done better.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because, hey, something's happened and now there's two of me inside of me.
I also think that, Norman Osborn, he is not he's a nice enough guy when you first meet him in the first one.
Yeah, but he wasn't out here trying to do good.
No, whereas this man here, and
Yeah.
even just that scene when they're eating together, and Peter Parker's talking about MJ, but
And
he
he's
doesn't
saying,
know
hey, do poetry, and then he's out there being like, just poetry on the fly.
But that scene, you see that man, you see he's just wanting to help out other people. As in,
I thought you were saying Peter Parker.
Not Peter Parker.
Because when you see Peter Parker doing poetry, you go you deserve to be alone, brother.
Yeah. I mean, if you look, I won't say it. But if I see a dude sitting on, he's at a party and instead of being with the party, he's one of them people that's different. The ladies love him and he's just writing poetry. If Peter Parker did that successfully, then he would have been that guy.
Yeah, but you can't just out of the blue just start spinning poems.
How good would that be? You want to set up a new personality for yourself, and you're like, I'm going to host a party. And it's going to be like a party. There's going to be beer pong. There's going to be all sorts of drinking games, but I'm going to be in the corner doing poetry, and that's me now. And so I'm not really into this sort of party thing, but you set it up. You supplied the alcohol, yeah, but I'm just.
Yeah, but that was
I live in a different. Yeah.
I only got the invitation yesterday.
I went to Dan Murphy's and I picked up an 8-pack and I thought, what would this do to mine? What would this do to mine? And that's when I got into poetry.
And that was the moment.
But that scene with Alfred Molina just talking about I love my wife and I did everything I could.
I think they did a really good job at making the characters important in the story and the actual, they felt like they were properly fleshed out.
Yeah.
They didn't feel half-baked, which is, a lot of the newer stuff.
And, the movie with Dave Chappelle. Yeah. Has anyone seen The Rubber Band? Anyone seen it? You know what I'm saying? You hit me with just a blank face and I'm going to ask you if you've seen The Rubber Band.
I mean, I haven't seen it.
The other great thing about Doc Ock is he'll be in a bank and he'll throw money bags at people.
That was hilarious. You open up a bank safe and you just see coins. Bro, I'm leaving that bank. I'm going to go rob another one.
I think he goes down to the coins now.
Yeah, go down to the coins. Far out. What am I going to do with these?
Unless there's bunions in there, I'm not getting it, And that's shout out. That's shout out back to the original back catalogue.
Bunions, man.
Yeah, wow.
How far we fallen.
Yeah, we follow them now. But Doc Ock, fantastic. The final scenes, he's out there just under a pier with a full sun. Pier ain't burning,
Yeah, but it's a power sun in the palm of his hands.
It's in the palm of his hands, but he's also doing big science projects out on a pier.
It's hilarious.
Underneath him, people don't know he's there.
He's got infrastructure there. You see how many crates?
I mean, he can get them because he's got lots of arms. So
I know, but people see that.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not flying under the radar. He's not doing some covert operation. Hey, we've used a shell company.
Yeah.
Right, and we're shipping things to this port, and then it's going through via Barbados back to the same port.
That's
and
right.
then it's unloaded in the middle of the night. Man's just out here. He's got a box. He's just taking that box wherever it needs to go.
You always have specific details about like things that happen in this world, like so specific. Like you're talking about Barbados. You're talking about shipping overnight. These things, like this is lived experience. You can't just know that from a book.
No, that's right.
That's right.
That's right. I seen Captain Phillips. I know where they go.
Oh yeah, that's
Not
right.
Barbados.
Dude. You've watched some Captain Phillips in your day.
But look at me, bro.
I know. Is there anything from this movie? I mean, oh no, that was in the last movie. I was going to say like those horrible yellow eyes. That's what Aunt May says in the first one.
Oh yeah, Aunt May was better in this movie, I thought.
Well, I think she's been through a bit, but also she's more fleshed out, other than just being like, I'm an old lady. I'm just an old lady. That's your.
But she does go into the bank with the old lady,
dude.
bonnet on, trying to get a toaster.
She's putting out a loan for the toaster.
Putting out a loan. John McHale's there. He's saying like, bro, you don't put this deposit down. I got to go back to college.
I mean, I don't know. Oh, John McHale. Yes, from Community.
Yes, Dave Chappelle.
I thought you were talking about like Armour Canes, and I was like maybe she's got like some Armour Canes.
I mean, maybe she's done it again,
and she could have done it again.
But yeah, that was that. I think the one thing I liked was she did that whole monologue at the kind of the final third of the movie.
Yeah.
With like that kid there, it's paying him $5.
That's right.
That's an absolute disgrace. Even in 2004. You see how many boxes there were?
Oh, dude, that kid was doing work.
That kid was doing work. Yeah. Like she's going to get fined, and she has a monologue about sometimes we got to give up.
What it means to be a hero.
Yeah. Like like that song.
With Enrique Iglesias.
I need a hero or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with Enrique.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, it's a bit on the nose. But I think it fits with what the movie is. And I think it was a pretty, well done monologue.
And Peter's just standing in the background like, with his mouth just gaped open, looked like a mullet.
Oh boy, yeah. Doing those ones.
Just putting in Joe's pizza just straight into his mouth. And like that's an institution in New York City. I might just add that.
I mean, Joe. What's his
man's name ain't Joe, but I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah. Anyway,
but he was there. Anyway.
That was quality because you see him as a character and you go, I believe that's a real character. Yeah, that's a real person.
I will say one thing that I forgot about, but a scene that I love is the eat your vegetables.
My mum keeps telling me to do this. See, yeah, I can't believe. I honestly am upset with myself that I thought this movie was as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, he's out there just driving on a moped with that silly ass helmet on,
and also he can't go to the play, and MJ's mad.
Yeah,
brother, your bike is destroyed. Just say, MJ, look at this.
Look at this, MJ. A man tried to kill me.
Yeah.
Like that car did not think about that man's life. It just said, I'm going through this dude.
Yeah.
This dude could be on his way anywhere. He could have had the best night of his life. He could have had the worst night of his life. That car didn't care. It was going straight through him. If that's not Spider-Man, that dude's dead. You know what I mean? Like, that's a wild scene.
You know what the best part about that is? Man's rocks up to the theater with that car.
Yeah, that's right. That is true, isn't it?
As Peter Parker.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the police are going like,
that's investigation.
How'd you get this car, bro? Like you would not believe me when I tell you, like, I just found it.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a whole movie. That's a side movie with just like the police just being like, how the hell did this car get here? Like, this is part of the investigation.
And then what's his name?
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell's there saying like, hey, can you guys be quiet? Like, can you do the investigation a bit quieter?
With Bruce Campbell, he was meant to be Mysterio because he later rocks up in other parts of in other parts. I think he's in Spider-Man 3 as well in a different space. But the Spider-Man 4 was meant to start with him as Mysterio, and Spider-Man was like taking him into the jail, just being like, "Hey, we got him," and it was Bruce Campbell's. And I think that's still wild. There's what's the things when they're like, this is we're drawing things, but it's actually going to be
storyboard.
There's a storyboarded part with him being taken into jail. And, you know, they didn't have to tell you like, yes, it is a mystery. You know, they didn't have to tell you that. And they just had mans there doing Bruce Campbell things.
Yeah.
And I love seeing Bruce Campbell. Like he's a dude.
He's a funny guy. The way he speaks,
Yeah.
is
Oh, dude, man.
just something about it.
Whenever I see this movie or Bruce Campbell in something else, I'm just thinking I need to watch Evil Dead right here, right now.
Yeah, Evil Dead's quality content.
Evil Dead 2 is one of the greatest movies of all time.
I'm still thinking about the elevator scene in this movie.
The elevator scene is pretty funny.
You could have him making 300 jokes in 15 floors, but he's honestly just sitting there, and man's is like, is it getting? Is that hard to breathe in or something like that? Like, how's that? It's a good Spider-Man suit. Hey, I made it myself. It's a bit hard to breathe. Rides up in the crotch, and then it's just silence for about 15 seconds.
And I just love his voice coming out of that suit, you know. But I think that I'm gonna just get into just my rating of this movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I got nothing else to.
I think I rated the last one a
here.
7.5. But this is a whole step up. This is an 8.5 for me. This is a fun movie. You know, it's nostalgic, but also it doesn't rely on that to be good.
Yeah, but this is not. It's a nostalgia. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the movie doesn't rely on nostalgic. You mean for you?
For me, yeah.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah. It's not aiming to be nostalgic in any way.
Yeah, no.
But it is, for us, it is nostalgic because, you know, 2004's very own.
Well, the nostalgia was absolutely wiped away from my memory the last times I watched it. But this is an 8.59.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, I could watch it again tomorrow, but I won't.
Because we got Spider-Man 3 to watch.
Because we got Spider-Man 3 to watch.
I mean, yeah. There's also the part where Peter Parker just falls. Nothing around him, man just falls.
Yeah.
And that's that's this movie. That's a part of this movie.
And I mean, I like that they are. Man, I was just about to something happened inside me just then. Jeepers! I was about to fall.
Yeah,
I was about to fall off this chair. But I love that they go for this addition to this movie, where it's just like man's he's just lost his power.
He's got to put his glasses back on,
dude.
And it's all
fantastic.
up here.
It's all up there, dude.
I'm pointing to my head.
Yeah, it's like that new Paw Patrol movie.
I ain't seen that.
You seen that? Like in this new Paw Patrol, you just said you haven't seen it, but in this new Paw Patrol movie, it's like it's you know it's I can't remember what the dog's name is, but it's a dog. It's a kids movie on Netflix, and like this dog is like about to do this jump, and it's just like, hey, I'm having a panic attack. I'm having a panic attack, and I'm expressing that to you, the viewer, and I think that's great.
Yeah. It's also hilarious that Peter Parker decides, I'm going to try to do it again, and he just broad daylight, you know, dressed in normal clothes, and he just tries to jump off a building.
And I mean, look, you know, New York City, it does not sleep, and there's eyes everywhere. So someone saw that man just fall off of a building and survive.
Yeah, but, I mean, you know, they sleep, but they also they turn a blind eye because Peter Parker was there, looking in the alleyway, someone's yelling. That's a busy street. There was like 45 heads walking on that street.
Yeah,
he's looking. Somebody help me! Hey, like me and like 500 people in New York, I'm going to do it, bro.
I mean, it's a concrete jungle there as well, and you got to remember that. And it's dog eat dog. It's all those things. Every saying that has come out of, you know, just showing that this is a hard place, that's come from New York City. So you walk past that and you'd be like, look, I do 9 to 5, and it's 8:55. I need to get to my job. You know.
My name's not Peter. I'm going to be on time.
I'm going to tell you this one thing though, just real quick. That was Spider-Man 2, and this has been the back catalogue.
Talk soon.